Wartime coinage, special wartime coinage, part 3. Well, I'm going to jump slightly out of sequence alphabetically to knock out one last country that came alphabetically at the end, but I'm going to take care of this first because it's just 2 coins, and it's a 5 centavos for the Estados Unidos de Venezuela, 1944, United States of Venezuela. These were struck at Denver, though there's no mint mark. And there was a 12.5 centavos, also struck in brass for the United States of Venezuela in 1944, struck at the Denver Mint. Again, we were making these coins both before and after in the same or equivalent designs out of copper nickel, but for the wartime, the nickel was valuable, and so we made them out of brass. Now, let's circle back to one of the most unusual wartime alloy stories, and that has to do with Peru. They too, we had made coins for them in roughly these sizes and most of these denominations. We didn't do a half sol, though we did do some 1 sols out of silver, but we made these coins out of copper nickel. Now in World War II, like everywhere else, they need these coins and we need the nickel, so we make them out of brass. So here we go. So there was the 5 centavos, yeah. That one's from Philadelphia. And this one, the year's all spelled out in words, so that's the thing. And that one, you see the little S under the TA, is from San Francisco. We made a 10 centavos, all out of brass. We actually made a lot of coins for them. And apparently during these years, some other places and countries or mints or whatever kicked in. There's the 1942S kicked in and made some of these brass coins as well. They also made them out of brass, but some of them would spell the words differently, the year a little bit differently, and others would just plain old put the year as 1940 whatever, 2, 3, 4, whatever it was. This is much harder to see. 1942S 20 cent. Unfortunately, some of these are very, very difficult to find, even on a low grade. And you'll see, we'll actually get to one that I couldn't have yet to find. This is a half sol from 1942. No mint mark, so this is made in Philadelphia. And the same coin, again, 1/2 sol, 1942. And in this case, there's a tiny S there at the bottom because this is made in San Francisco. But all of these are made out of brass. We continue the same thing in 1943. So here is our 5 centavos. This one's from Philadelphia. And our 5 centavos from San Francisco. Again, note the very visible S there. 10 centavos. Wow. I don't know if we can even see that in there. That's faintly. Well, the 10's a little easier. Well, okay. From Philadelphia. I apologize for how horrible these specimens are. At least the one from San Francisco is recognizable. Yeah, you can see the S there. That's good. All right. 20 cent. That's not too bad. From Philadelphia. All brass. And the 20 cent. Well, that's actually fairly nice looking. From San Francisco. Kind of a blobby S on that one though. Half sol. All of this is brass. 1943. Wow, that actually looks almost nice. And 1943 from San Francisco. All right. And then we even began making the 1 sol kai, or un sol. Sol de oro, 1943. Except for a little bit of rust there near the top. It's actually not bad looking. So, but the brass is probably obvious. 1944, now the San Francisco Mint is no longer involved, but Philadelphia is still making this 5 centavo. Yeah, well, if they looked like that, they all looked like that. All right, a 10 centavo. We did make Philadelphia did make a 20 centavo. I have yet to find one. And there was a half sol, 1944, and again, no S-cent. These were all made in Philadelphia. And finally, another sol. Yeah, not terribly bad, not as good as the other, but still pretty good. Made in 1944. Even for 1945, we still made another half sol in Philadelphia. Okay. Now, this has an unusual history because having made all these brass coins for Peru during World War II, something very unusual happened. Rather than reverting to the kinds of coins they had before, the Peruvians decided that they liked the brass better and they want to keep it. And so they continued. I see it as maybe an expression of the fact that Peru is very proud of their brass works, of which I decided to show an example here. These shoes were used on horseback riding. You'd have a strap that would come through here, go across the back of the horse, and come down on the other side and go through there. And so the rider could put a foot in each one of these and go riding about. These are strong metal shoes. You could probably use them in wartime. And that may be what happened, because on one of these shoes, it actually had to be patched here. You can see from a long time ago where little bronze pegs were used to hold otherwise as brass. And you can actually see where something had gotten damaged. And probably some very difficult attack in a war. Look at that. So I believe this is only one example. We brought back a lot of very fascinating souvenirs from Peru back in 1963, of which these are probably the most interesting and relevant bit of it that I could readily get at today. And these shoes were, like I said, very splendid examples of Peruvians' brass works. So by making these brass works, they made these brass shoes, and I think they made a lot of other things in brass, and they were very proud of that. So in a way, they continue to make their coins out of brass after World War II. We stopped making coins for them at the end of World War II, but they had coins for themselves made wherever, themselves or others, for the years following. In the middle of the 1970s, we would make a few more coins for them out of brass, but that is no longer a wartime context. That's just now how they do their coins. So that's kind of an unusual background, but I wanted to bring in a little sample of how Peru did something exceptional because they stayed with the brass, and maybe some of this fascinating antique brass work may have something to do with why. Well, that's what I have on that for part 3. Thanks for listening.